In Pali, the ending of the verb changes along with the subject. So, for instance, when the subject of a present tense verb is in the first person, the ending is me. And when in the second person, it ends in si, and in the third person, it ends in ti. So, let's take our verb passami and conjugate it into the full present tense. So it's passami, passasi, passati, and in plural, passama, passata, and passanti. Each and every form of this verb looks different, and because of this we actually don't need the subject present, because whether it's first, second or third person, singular or plural, all of that information is found in the ending of the verb. In this video we're going to look at how Pali uses verbs when the subject is implied. So in Pali we may get a sentence like this: So damanang passati. He sees the truth. But you'll more likely see it without the pronoun so. But that information is still included in the ending of the verb passati. From this we know it's in third person, which means the subject must be he, she or it, which implies the pronoun so. And from this we know that so should be placed as the subject of the sentence. What this means is a Pali sentence doesn't have to identify a subject unless it's absolutely necessary for the meaning of the sentence, as the subject can always be inferred from the ending of the verb. But when a pronoun as subject is included, this is usually to add emphasis. So where the first sentence just says, he sees me, the second sentence, which includes the pronoun so, has the feeling of, he sees me, or it's he who sees me. English doesn't really have a way of stressing the subject, except when we read it out loud. But because in Pali the subject is generally not explicit, it can be emphasized simply by including it in the sentence. So returning to our famous Dharma quote, Dharmanang passati, so mang passati, we can read this as, he who sees the truth, he sees me. So when we see a verb like passami, don't just see the stem, but see it as two separate parts. Passa meaning see, and me being the first person I see. And this is true of the other conjugations. You see, he sees, we see, you see plural, and they see. We can see that embedded in the ending of each of these verbs is the pronoun. So the Pali sentence doesn't have to identify its subject, especially if that subject is fairly obvious from context. Keep this in mind when you're reading a Pali sentence and trying to identify the subject. It's often embedded in the verb and is merely implied. For more information on this and other subjects, check out my blog on palistudies.blogspot.com.